We are live. Welcome everybody to our workshop series. We're here at our Polaris location, so welcome all Ashmont agents. For this workshop, we're going to be talking about listing presentations for realtors. This is going to be a virtual and in-person workshop. So we have some agents coming in tonight that they're going to be working on their listing presentations for themselves. I know a lot of you out there do not have a listing presentation. I know, I asked you directly. It's really important that you do have a listing presentation. In my real estate career, I have, beat out a lot of really good realtors because they're walking into a home and a client and they don't have anything to show the client what they're going to do. Even though they may do professional photography, they might do, handyman services or whatever, aerial, drone photography, Matterport, all that kind of stuff. If you aren't conveying it to your clients, then how are they going to know that you're going to do that for them? So in this workshop, we're going to be getting down to it, just rolling up our sleeves and start finishing out our listing presentation. The last couple meetings, guys, we have talked about what are some important things to put in your listing presentation. And so at this point in time, you should have the content. And that's the hardest part because you have a couple options. On Lion's desk, I shared in our Facebook group the templates that you can use. It's literally just input the information in the templates. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. They're already there. There's mobile versions. So I personally would suggest maybe have a mobile version. So maybe you can send that to the client before you go out to the home, and then have a, maybe more of a desktop view. I always bring I have a little Surface, Microsoft Surface Go. It's kind of a tablet hybrid that I bring. It's real small, so you can show the client as well. So, but one metaphor that I always talk about not having a listing presentation is, say, for example, you're going to hire someone to facilitate your wedding, and you're going to pay them an absorbent amount of money because, let's be honest, sell their homes. And if, say you were hiring that wedding planner and they come to your house or you go to them or whatever, and they said, yeah, we're going to book this real beautiful venue. The catering's going to be great. The food will be great. Don't worry about it. Give me 20 grand and it's all taken care of. I don't know if many of you would do that. I think you would probably want to ask the wedding caterer, the wedding planner, to maybe, say, can I see what the venue looks like? Can I have some pictures? What do you mean by food? What is that going to entail? Can you show me? And that's basically, as real estate agents, when we're selling someone's home, you need to show them what they're going to get. An average home in Columbus, Ohio, is over $330 now in the Central Ohio market. And, so let's just make it easy math. 3% of $300,000 is 18 grand, 3% of 300. So, $18,000 they're paying you, and you don't take the time to show them what you're going to do. So that's what we're going to work on tonight. This is live. I'm going to stay on for at least an hour. A lot of you are going to be doing it virtual from home, and that's totally fine. We have agents here in office that I'm going to work with one-on-one. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat. There's a private chat. Just throw it in there and say, hey, Adam, what about this? Everyone has my number. If you need to send me a picture, you can text me a picture and say, what do you think about this? Or should I add this? Everyone's listing presentation is a little different. What I'm going to give a client is going to be a little different than what you might provide a client. So everyone's listing presentation is a little different. So, with that being said, make sure, you show your client what you're going to be providing to them, because it only makes sense because we're charging them a lot of money. So, with that further ado, if you let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start. We got people still filing in, so I'm going to help them here in a second. I'm going to be going back and forth, checking the chat. If this will be recorded on our YouTube, if you do miss some of it, but again, this is a workshop. They're going to be just sitting down, getting to business. All the presentations and brainstorming, we've done that 2 times in a meeting, so we're not going to be doing that on this live feed. But I want to be available for everybody on this live feed if you have questions. So I'm going to step away for a second, and we got some people coming in now, getting them settled in, and let's get to work. So, all right, guys, if you have any questions, just put it in the chat. There's a private chat. I'll see it. I'll keep an eye on it. If someone comes up with a question on the private chat, I'll address it immediately. Okay, so I'm going to step away for a second. Go ahead and get your computers open, which you probably already do. But go ahead and start working. Whatever template you're using, we talked about on Lion's desk. There's the templates there. You can also use Canva if you want, but at this time, you already, settled in on what template you're going to be using. And right now we're going to work on the content itself. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. So I'm going to be back and forth the screen. And if you guys need anything, just put it in the chat. I'll be happy to address. I'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, we got some few more people joining. Go ahead. We already kicked off the workshop, so go ahead and get started. I'm out of focus, but go ahead and get started with your presentations. At this time, you should know what platform you're going to use. If you're going to use Lines Desk templates, or you're going to do Canva. But go ahead, get started. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat, the private chat in front of you, and I'm happy to answer that. I'll keep checking back and forth, but other than that, just let's get to work. Yeah, guys, if anyone is others joining, if anyone has any questions, just put them in the private chat and I can address them. If you need some feedback or what have you, just let me know. But I'll be going back and forth, checking on the chat as well. All right, guys, if you guys have any questions, just put them in the chat and the private chat, and I'll address them if you have any questions, or you guys are starting to work on your listing presentation. So other than that, I'm going to be working on mine as well. I'm personally going to be working on more of a mobile version. I've always had more of a desktop view, but something that I'm going to be doing is creating a mobile version that I can send a client maybe before I meet them. Kind of some things like a broad overview of things we're going to be talking about. And the nice thing is, guys, just remember, you only have to do this one time, because once you do it once, you might have some tweaks, but you know, this is something you're going to be using over and over and over. And I can promise you, majority of agents out there do not have anything organized, and especially when you're new, that might be the leg up when you're coming in there and you understand your numbers and the data and things like that. And you're, you know, and you come in with a nice presentation, they're not even going to worry about how many houses you sold over the last 5 years, because they're going to be just really impressed with, you know, knowing the market statistics and just being prepared. So, but if anyone has any questions, just throw it in the chat. I'll be answering it, because if you have that question, someone else might. And I will keep working on mine. All right. All right, got a question. Where's the copy in the Lion desk again? All right. Let me share my screen. So you're going to go into, I put a copy in, I put a copy of a direct link, Paisley, in the Facebook group. So I haven't gone into Facebook yet. So let me share, let me jump into Facebook on this with you. So give me 1 second. And thank you for asking that question, because I know there's other people out there that forgot and they're just sitting there waiting and trying to figure it out. So Way to step up. So thank you. Just give me 1 second. I'll share my screen and I'll show you which one it is. All right. Almost there, Paisley. Okay. All right. In Lion's Den, guys, on August 2nd, here is so August 2nd, a post I personally put on. You'll see this post right here. It'll say like Marketing Center, Breakthrough Broker. If you click that, that will take you directly to, there we go. Now, Paisley, if you've never logged in or your cookies or something, if you notice mine went directly there, it might ask you to log in, but once you log in, it'll take you right there. So it's a direct link to the listing presentations. Okay, there's also, guys, buyer presentations as well. Okay, and that's what Diane's going to work on tonight, is her buyer presentation, for example. So, there's mobile versions. There's, more your traditional, one that on a desktop, for example, version. I don't have any mobile friendly presentations, and that's what I'm going to start working on tonight. Something that I can send to a client, for example, the night before or a few days before, just to kind of summarize what we're going to talk about, maybe more of a condensed version, because you guys got to remember that, most people, most people look at things on their cell phone. So they're not necessarily on the desktop. So, make sure that you're, to have something that's maybe more mobile friendly, that's not super detailed oriented, maybe just, some high points, meaning, these are 5 things we're going to be talking about. Just start thinking about them. I'll see you next Tuesday. So those are things that you want to, you might want to create one of those. But you need to have a presentation, a listing presentation. For sure. If you don't have a listing presentation or a buyer presentation, work on your listing presentation first. That is the most important. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the workshop, just think if you went to a wedding planner and you're going to give them $20,000, $25,000, which is kind of an average sale in Central Ohio right now, and that's how much they're paying you in commission, 3% of 300,000. That's 18 grand, and it's a little north of that. But just think about if you went to a wedding planner and they just walked into your house and say, "Oh yeah, I have the best venue, I have the best place for your wedding, oh, the best food," but they don't ever show you anything. I don't think you would write a check for $20,000 without ever seeing the wedding venue. Would you, or a picture of the food or where the reception hall is going to be? It just doesn't make sense. And it just, so that's why we want to show them as well as tell them. Okay. All right. Thanks. All right. I'm going to get back to work. Great question. If anyone else has any questions, there's a lot of great templates in Lion's desk. Other people mentioned they might be using Canva. That's okay too. I don't care what you use. There's so many free things out there that we have that has wonderful templates. You just need to start getting that in your content into some sort of program. That way, when that day comes to come out and take a look at a house and kind of show them what you'll be doing, you'll be ready. All right. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Well, if anyone has any other questions, just put it in the comments, and then I'm going to be working on mine. So you'll be staring at me, but just throw it in the comments, and I'll take a break and continue helping. And guys, I'll stay on here live for another half hour. As people trickle on, and if they have any questions to get started, but I'll stay on another 30 minutes or so. And then if anyone has any questions, feel free to put it in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer those live. All right, guys, we're at the 7:45 mark. If you guys have any more questions, I'll stay on for another 15 minutes as everyone works through this. I'd be happy to answer any questions or any feedback that you guys might have, over the last couple meetings. And if you missed the meetings, again, we recorded we do record all the meetings. So if you did miss the meetings that we brainstorm on things that should be included in a listing presentation, go back and watch those meetings. There's 2 meetings, and they're about that we covered this information to kind of build up to this workshop. During the meeting was about a half hour long pertaining to this topic. We had a lot of good feedback. Everything from Google reviews to testimonials to services that you're going to be providing clients. Because remember, not maybe what one agent's going to do for a client. I know I've had agents that pay to do up to $500 worth of remodeling. Maybe paint a couple rooms for them. For example, at the agent's cost. I have seen agents where they pay for light staging. Something that I personally do. I do drone. I do staging consults. There's a little extra fee for that. I eat that out of my own pocket. But when you deal with the luxury listing, for example, and having that stager come in, you got to pay them $150 to come in, but to give them some tips on how to stage their home, that could be the difference between getting a higher end listing. Now, that might not be for every listing, a stager coming in and giving some tips and things. But if you present that in your listing presentation, the next guy doesn't, $150 cost to getting a stager in there to give them some tips and pointers. That could be the difference of getting a high-end listing that you maybe not have got. So think about those things. Make sure you add those in your presentation. When you're with a client, when you're talking, you can talk all day long, but they're going to forget it unless you show them, you put it in writing and show them what you're going to do for them. So I'm going to stay on for another 12 minutes till about 8 o'clock. If you guys have any other questions, just throw them up in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them. But just keep plugging away tonight on your listing presentations, and work on that first. Work on your listing presentation, and then work on your buyer presentation later. Listing presentations are I feel more important than a buyer presentation. So make sure you get your listing presentation knocked out first, and then we'll work on the buyer presentation. We had a good question here. And the question was, hey, Adam, I need a logo that is transparent and clear in the background. That's called a PNG file or a PNG file. The ones that are on Lion's Den, on our private Facebook group, are not, you cannot save PNG files on Facebook. So there, if you Google search Ashmont Realty PNG logo, I think they're out there floating around. But I'm going to be emailing. If you guys need one of those or what have you, and you don't already have them, a lot of times we kind of give them out when you onboard. But let me know and I'll shoot you an email. I'll shoot you an email tonight, send you out different logos. We have ones that are white, some are red, and things like that, depending on the background you're going to be using. And but if you need a PNG file, which is a clear, transparent background that you can overlay into things, and if you don't have one, let me know and I'll send one to you. All right, guys, got about 5 minutes, 5 more minutes before we jump off for any last questions. So we can jump off and get finished up on our presentations here. So, but we have logos and the templates and things. Those are all great questions. So if a couple more minutes, guys, I'm going to be jumping off and keep working on my presentation personally. Thank you for all that joined tonight. It just shows that it's all about the inches. Just one little thing at a time that'll separate you from other agents. It's not an overnight success story. It takes a lot of time doing the right things little by little, and we're here to support you along the way. So a couple more minutes, guys. If you have any other follow-up questions, now's the time to answer them or ask them, and I'll answer them for you. But you got a couple more minutes before we jump off this workshop. We do have another workshop we're going to be scheduling at the end of September. I'll go ahead and just finish it out talking about this. This one I'm really excited about. We're going to be having someone who's a tax strategist that is going to be coming on, and it'll be remote, so we're going to be doing it via workshop like this, and she's going to be going over a little presentation about things that you can write off on your taxes and give us some tax tips, because a lot of agents, including me, were not properly writing off. Now, when I say properly, meaning we were missing a lot of things that we could write off on our taxes. Everything from, the difference between being a sole proprietor to an LLC, things that you can write off, such as your home office, mileage. A lot of people know that, but, I didn't know that you could, instead of doing mileage, it might be more beneficial to write off your expenditures that you put on your car instead if you don't drive a lot. So those are some things, a percentage of your home office if you had a home office. I thought that was kind of interesting, but there's a lot of things from a standpoint of write-offs that you can offset that Uncle Sam tax bill at the end of the year. So that's going to be in late September, and then we're going to have probably one or two more to conclude 2023 on workshops before the holidays. So any last questions, guys, before we get off? It's about 8 o'clock. So look for that next workshop. It's late September. I don't have a date set yet, but it's going to be late September. We'll shoot it out to everybody. I think that's going to be a pretty good one, because a lot of people always have tax questions about how they can reduce their the taxes that they pay at the end of the year. And it was a big eye opener for me when I sat through, and she helped me with the business, and she's volunteered her time to come and help us as on an agent level. No one has really ever done that that I see. So I think it's a wonderful thing that we're providing. So other than that, last but not least, last call. Last call. Any other final questions? All right. Well, thanks for everybody that joined tonight on this workshop on how to again, keep working on it. Just knock it out tonight. Because if not, it'll drag on. And what'll happen is your client will call you later this week and want you to come out and do a listing presentation. You won't have it ready. So thanks again for everyone for joining virtual and in person. And we will see you guys on the next workshop. Good night, everybody.